Before I start, I'd like to take a few seconds to reflect on this young man. I think all of us have brought a favorite young man to pay tribute to. This is Nicholas Kalo. He's 13 years old, has an IQ of 152, a brilliant kid, plays the piano. Any of us would be proud to have him as our son. Exactly 4 months ago on this day, the 23rd of February 2011, he shot himself to death. I'll pass this picture around. His mother, shown here, just spent Mother's Day last month without her son. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I just spent Father's Day with my 2 kids, and I can't imagine Father's Day or any day without my children alive. This policy is not about religion. It's not about being gay. It's not about making anyone gay, because that's not even possible. And it's not about sexuality in any way. It's about kids like Nick. 1 in 4 kids get physically abused in our schools due to gay bullying. 7 out of 10 get verbally abused every single day. Obviously, the policies in place are not working. If somebody bullies somebody and then you slap them on the wrist, that's not a policy. A policy is to stop the bullying, is to create awareness. We don't want to punish the kids, like you said. That's not the job of schools. The job of schools is to educate. Policy 5.45 is specifically targeted to stop gay bullying and create an awareness of the differences which exist in human sexuality. If by standing in front of you today, I can save even 1 life like Nicholas, then I've succeeded as a human being. I'm going to pass these pictures around too. I'm not going to speak about them, but I'll let you look at them. Look in their eyes. What do you see? Do you see their dreams? Could this young man have grown into a researcher who found a cure for your cancer? Maybe he could have brought peace in the Middle East, but we'll never know. All of these kids committed suicide because they were victims of gay bullying. And I didn't say they were gay. They were just victims. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shahraz Kassam. I made Canada my home when I was 7 years old. I lived in Burnaby for 30 years. My 2 brothers attended Burnaby Central, and my 2 kids have attended Seaforth Elementary and now attend Burnaby Mountain. In the last 30 years, I've started 2 businesses with a total of 9 locations here in Burnaby, Surrey, Vancouver, and Richmond, creating over 200 jobs, circulating over $100 million into the economy. I've won numerous awards, and every year my business, Shaman Jewelers, will continue to give out 10 scholarships to deserving high school students in the Lower Mainland. Why am I telling you this? Because in high school, I planned to kill myself. I was taught by my parents to attend church regularly, to respect all people, be polite, and speak when I'm spoken to. I went to a British school in Africa, so I had this cute British accent that the teachers loved, and my classmates thought was totally gay. I was pushed into lockers, called a fag, gay, queer, Paki, Hindu, and the list goes on. I was kicked in the stomach and punched. That pain is gone, but the pain from the name-calling remains. I hated PE because there, the bullies had free rein to hit me in the head playing dodgeball or any other game. When the rest of the kids got excited to see snow falling, I would have a knot in my stomach because I knew on my way home or during lunch, I would get thrown to the ground and get my face washed. When the bell rang at 3 p.m., the rest of the kids would rush out and go home. I, on the other hand, would hide in the school, waiting for the bullies to go home so I wouldn't get beaten up. The teachers never saw anything. The school board was not there for me. My fellow students were not there for me, and I never told my parents. I was too young to even know what I was, straight or gay, but just like some people in our community, my family spoke of gay people as abnormal, weird, and not acceptable. But gay or not, it's your kids that need this policy, as they're the ones that get gay bullied the most. It's the kids that may even be perceived as gay that need this policy. If we had delayed this policy, a few more students every day would have been led down this path of self-hate and self-destruction, led to believe that they're abnormal, weird, or not worthy of living, that what they do is a sin. 1 in 5 teens think about suicide. 1 in 6 make plans for suicide, and more than 1 in 12 attempt suicide every year in Canada. One of the leading causes of teen suicide is sexual orientation and the non-acceptance that they feel amongst their peers, teachers, parents, and society in general. Being a secular country, we also have an obligation to teach future leaders about awareness and acceptance, not only so they can live amongst others in society, but also prepare them if they have a gay child to be better able to understand their child's needs. I realize and understand that some in this room, acceptance of this policy goes against their religious beliefs. But we have a secular school system that has to impart education that is globalistic and inclusive and keep all students safe and secure. We also live in a pluralistic society with many faiths and beliefs. In fact, in Burnaby, 32% of the people have no religious affiliation. If we let one religion dictate a policy, then we must also respect other religions. My religion allows me to have 4 wives. Does this mean that schools in Burnaby now have to incorporate that into their family planning classes? Do we no longer serve beef in our schools in order to respect those who follow Hinduism? Of course not. Religion has its own place in society, but not in the secular school system. Many of the protesters, including Charter Lau, have their kids in Catholic schools, yet they're trying to push their religious agenda onto the public school system. There is no place for that in our schools. Sadly, I personally know many young men and women who think about suicide. And I have a friend here in Vancouver who lost his boyfriend, killed himself at age 24 due to his religiously extreme parents. Did God really give us this book to use as a weapon? To kill, to hurt, and to spread intolerance? Or did He give us with this book an intellect with which to personally interpret His words? In this book, God says the earth is flat. But then He gave us science to reveal to us that indeed the earth is round. There are 3 gay brothers in Burnaby that are taking part in a genetic DNA study that's being conducted by Northwestern Medical School in Chicago that has already shown that being gay is genetic, linked to the maternal X chromosome called XQ28. Homosexuality and homosexual behavior have been around since the first signs of life. It exists in all species and animals, including, of course, humans. Right now, I know one young Asian man in Richmond from a Catholic family who has been tormented for the last 8 months since he came out to his parents and family. His parents tell him that he has been misled by the devil and feel that he can change his choice. They destroyed his monogamous relationship and are pushing him to date girls. One day, this young man sent me a text on my phone. He was in anguish and pain, and he wrote, I quote, "I just want to kill myself, then at least other parents will learn," unquote. He has been let down by his school board. They never gave him the tools he needs to stand up for himself, to know what is right, to know that he is normal. His family has let him down. His church has let him down. Even his younger sister, who went to school here, tells him to pray or he will burn in eternal fires of hell. I spoke to his mother and told her that her son is struggling and is suicidal. She responded that in her religion, suicide and being gay is the same thing. Both burn in eternal fires of hell, so it makes no difference to her. I was speechless. And to this day I wonder if perhaps education would have opened his mother's mind and heart. In 1997, the U.S. Catholic bishops issued a pastoral statement urging parents to love and support their gay children. So I wrote to his pastor, telling him that a child of his church is struggling. Father Paul Chu responded by saying, "We do not promote hate, but say whatever Lord asked us, that mankind should respect the sexuality that God gives us, and everyone should avoid offending God. Having the inclination is not a sin, but acting on it, doing it is. According to the Bible, the acts, deeds of homosexuality is not acceptable. Pray and work hard to follow Christ, as it is only through the narrow gate that we can reach His kingdom," unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, The gate to God's kingdom may be narrow, but the gate to education is wide open, and it has to remain wide open. Not accepting someone as they are and forcing them to be what they are not is hate and abuse, no matter how much you sugarcoat it. This is why I'm here today. Those who hate are holding on to the literal interpretation of our holy books that were revealed to a civilization that lived 2,000 years ago. I wonder if these same people, if they needed medical advice, would they turn to a medical journal written by experts 2,000 years ago? I'm a Muslim, and my holy book says many things about getting rid of infidels. Does that mean that the schools in Burnaby have to respect my religious teachings and not teach the facts about 9/11 and an unbiased view of Muslim extremists such as bin Laden? I hope not. I've heard from many that this policy is too specialized. Why are they protecting only the gay kids when we should be saying no to bullying in general? Well, I'm not sure if these members are indeed aware that there are other specific policies in place to protect our children. These cover positive school climate, prejudice, and multiculturalism. Yes, we have a code of conduct, but that's a general policy, and due to its very nature being a code of conduct, it can't get specific. That's why we have a specific policy for racism, a specific policy for multiculturalism, and now for sexual orientation. Why do we need a specific policy rather than just adding it to existing policies as we've been told? Because in order to instill acceptance and awareness, you must start with education. You must have a specific plan as to how you will address the issues and eliminate discrimination against that specific group. You can only do that with awareness and acceptance of that group. For example, in order to eliminate racism, we taught students from a young age about cultures they may not be familiar with. We taught them about celebrations that were specific to the Chinese culture, about the foods and dressing styles specific to the Indian culture. This is how we fostered an environment in which racial differences are no longer seen as a negative, and in fact today we celebrate racial diversity. Now it's time to teach students from a young age, of course in an age-appropriate manner, about different family structures and lifestyles they may not be familiar with, so that we can foster an environment in which sexual differences are not seen as a negative.